Hello and welcome to Millennial Media. On this show, we talk to students and teachers from St. Charles County Schools about some of the projects they're working on. Today, we will be taking an inside look into some of the media work being done at Francis Howell North. Alrighty, to start things off today, I am here with Aaron Manfull, the teacher of it all. How are you today?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Good.
So let's just start with, how did you get into teaching?
Yeah, I was part of my high school journalism program back in Iowa growing up, and my mom was actually my journalism advisor. So she did the same thing for 30 years. And I went to college. I got into communications and journalism and thought about going the professional route. But at Truman, they had a master's program in education that I started in, and the last component I needed to finish my degree was to go student teach. And when I went and did that, I knew teaching is where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. So gotcha. I just kind of went all in after that. Okay. So where did you get your start teaching? Or I guess more importantly, I want to know, how has that evolved as there's been so many advancements in media and journalism? Yeah, it's been interesting. Since I've been doing this for so long, I kind of got to see a little bit of everything. I grew up in the darkroom, developing film and printing photographs and everything like that. My first teaching job, there was no video, wasn't even an option to do. It was pre-YouTube, video camera, and things were so expensive. Right. And then, we're in this age today where now all the students have video cameras and cameras in their pockets, and stuff can be up instantaneously rather than it taking 4 to 6 hours to get things developed or produced to get up. And it's so fun all the time just to watch the changes and advancements in technology and just seeing what the kids are going to do next with the tools they have. So how challenging was that for you to keep up with those growing changes, as, like you said, you started in a much different time, and now to have to adapt as these things move on? How challenging can that be? Yeah, I'm lucky in the sense that from a tech standpoint, I like being an early adopter. I like trying new things out and rolling up my sleeves and seeing how things work. So I find, like, where some people see those things as a negative when the operating system update changes or their phone icons move around, I enjoy all those types of things. So I like the different things. I like bringing those things in to share with my students, but I also, what's really cool about the job is they know so much more in a lot of the different areas than I do, that there's really not much of a day that goes by when I'm not asking one of them to sit down and show me what they're doing and how it's working, so I'm absorbing all the stuff they know too. Gotcha. All right, so let's talk about Francis Howell North. Yeah. Dig into a little bit of what you do there. Okay, so yeah, we have a pretty large high school journalism program at Francis Howell North in terms of how high school journalism programs are. We have 2 full-time teachers who are working with roughly 300 students in and out of the classes in a given year. We have 2 websites that the students are pushing content out onto daily, a news website and a sports-specific website. They're running social media accounts from everything from Twitter and Snapchat to Instagram and Facebook. They have a print newspaper that still comes out every 5 weeks, 320-page yearbook, a broadcast program, and we got a team of probably 20 photographers that feed all the different media that we have at the school. So what would you say is probably the reason that that's such a big program there at that school? Not a lot of schools have that much of a crowd really in those classrooms for those type of things. So what do you think it is about Francis Howell North that just helps keep pushing kids in those doors and gets them so involved? Yeah, I think one is we have a very supportive administration. They are supportive to work with the kids, and they want them to be able to push the envelope and try new things. They want to give them the freedoms to report on issues that are relevant to the students. And they also want to, as they are able to, give them the space and tools necessary to do the very best they can and succeed. And that's all about, whether it's learning to become a better photographer or a better communicator. They really, I can't tell you how supportive they are in that regard.
Yeah, I imagine that helps a lot, especially there's a lot of challenges, I'm sure, doing that on a high school level. There's certain rules that they have to worry about that college kids or obviously professionals can kind of work around. So how are you able to overcome some of those?
I think what I've always found with obstacles is that it's a lot about just getting people together to talk and to communicate. And I think we have from the student standpoint, they take their job very, very seriously. They have deep discussions about things that they're going to cover and how best to do it, the best sources to talk to, and they dig really deeply and care about the work that they're doing. But they also make sure to keep open lines of communication with the administration. Whether it's having a beginning of the year meeting where they're just introducing each other, or where they're making sure that if they are going to be touching on a story that deals with school policy or deals with a big button topic, that they're making sure to interview the administration to get their side of the story as well.
Gotcha. So they're making sure they're very thorough with talking to all the right people, getting all the right clearances. Mm-hmm. Got you. So outside of the classroom, I know you also have stuff on the middle school level. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, a couple years ago, the newspaper at one of the middle schools in the district, Barnwell Middle School, it was without a sponsor, and I wanted to keep that momentum going. I mean, one of the things we have a very supportive administration. Another reason why the program is large is because I'm always trying to get great kids to be a part of the program and get them in there, because I think my philosophy in the program is come one, come all, and so I do like recruiting. And so I had this opportunity where the newspaper was going to be dying at the middle school. I saw that not only as good recruiting grounds to get them ready for high school, but it was always something I'd kind of thought about doing, but never really had a good reason to go do it, and somebody was there. And so I just started it last year for the first time. It's myself and probably 8 other high schoolers go over there every Monday for an hour and 15 minutes, work with the students over there, and I'll be honest with you, I was scared like the first couple times out. Yeah, like middle school kids. So right. I have never taught them before or anything like that, and I was a little nervous that they were going to eat me alive or something like that. But they didn't. They didn't at all. It was actually like it's energizing every week. They have so much energy and they're so excited to learn. And I mean, the high school kids are. Yeah, in many respects also, it's a little different level of energy. So it's fun, and this year is actually the first time where I have a few of those kids that I first had in middle school that are now in the high school and coming to be a part of the program, and it's neat to have seen them and seeing how they're growing and developing in high school. So it's nice.
So how big of an impact have you seen that make on the issue with them almost losing the newspaper? And I'm sure that's probably helped with the enthusiasm on the middle school level too, now that you are bringing your students also down and kind of helping out there. What kind of impact are you seeing?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is the students keep coming back and they get excited. We probably have 30 students every week, and I think I was anticipating when the club started that we would have big numbers the first couple meetings, and then they would drop off and we'd end up with the 6 or 10 that they might have had in the club before. But we've kept the numbers high and the kids keep coming back, and I think it's just they're excited to create things. They're excited to see their byline in the newspaper. They're excited to work with the high schoolers on photography and video stuff, and they're excited on that paper distribution day when they have it at school to get their work out there and just share with others. So it's really been a positive experience, I think, for the kids, and I've had a good time too.
And I also heard that you and your wife do a little bit of work in the summer with media.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. I think that's very cool that you would take what most teachers take as that's my vacation time.
Right,
I'm out,
right.
To use that to try to help kids also.
Yeah, so my wife does a lot of graphic design, marketing, website design, so we talk shop a lot with really dealing with a lot of the same stuff day in and day out. And we just got this idea. I used to go around the country in the summertime teaching at journalism workshops all over, and I would take my students with me at all these different workshops. And my wife and I were just talking one day, and we thought, wow, what if we talk to some of our professional friends that we have down at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and other places, some of our other, great advisor friends, and what if we brought them all here to St. Louis so that my students at Howell North didn't have to travel all over the place and everything, but also so we could open it up to help get other students in the St. Louis area excited about excited about education, really is what it boils down to. Excited about film, excited about careers that they could have down the road someday. And what started out as a camp 8 years ago of 40 students in our first year has blossomed into, we run 2 different camps in the summer. We'll have one here in St. Louis that, will run maybe about 200 students, and we have another one up in Iowa that will run between 100 and 150. And it's just, it's 4 energy-packed, fun days of, just learning and working on these students, giving them skills to go back and make their programs better. And we, while we started, it was just going to be a thing just in the St. Louis area. We're drawing people from all over the country to these, so it's fun.
Well, unfortunately, we ran out of time very quickly. I would have loved to have had more time to speak with you, but I appreciate you stopping by today.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you again. When we come back, we will be talking to Taylor Sheridan, who is editor-in-chief of FHNtoday.com. So we look forward to hearing what she has to say.
I come from a big family. I'm the oldest of 6. To me, being the first person to go to college, it's like setting a standard, My little brother is 8 years old now. I challenge his curiosity. I challenge him to dream. I have to paint a picture for him that he can look up to and live up to and possibly be better than. My name is Jaquez, and I am your dividend.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, I am Romero Starks, and you are watching Millennial Media. Right now, I have with me Francis Howell North student Taylor Sheridan. She is the editor-in-chief of FHNtoday.com. Taylor, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, let's talk about your job as editor-in-chief. What does that require of you?
So there's a lot that goes on in the hour that I lead, but in essence, I start the class every day and then help all of the different sections that are in our hour, which include FHN Today, which run the website, and then Game Day team, which runs the sports website. And then there's the ads team that create and work with businesses to create ads for our website, yearbook, and newspaper. And then we have the social media team who run the Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook.
Gotcha. So how is that for you, being a fellow student, kind of leading the way in that, and probably having a teacher just kind of sit back and let you work? How does that feel?
At first, it was a little weird, reminding my peers, hey, you have a deadline coming up, make sure you meet it. But, the more comfortable that you get in your position, the more it comes easier, and the more they see that you are somebody even just inside of the room that they respect, but you can go out and have fun with them later.
Gotcha. What exactly do you do with those pages? Do you just kind of help out when necessary, or do you kind of guide the students through, oh, well, I think the sports page needs to have this and that, or these are the things we need on it this week? How does that work on a weekly basis?
So on a weekly basis, I am kind of there when needed. A lot of the students have a lot of great ideas, and they know what they want it to look like, and they're great, and we try to get them to try things out because they have good ideas. So I'm there to help talk through the ideas or to maybe offer some opinions, but a lot of the times it's the other students in the class who come up with the great ideas who put it on the site or like think, hey, why don't we try this? And we try it out, and if it works or if it doesn't, then it might come to me and be like, hey, I think maybe we should go try this instead. But a lot of the times it's a lot of the other students who take the charge.
Got you. And I also got a chance to look at a little bit of one of the videos, Humans of FHN, something along those lines. Tell me about that. Is that like a weekly type series, or do you just kind of get them out when you can? What is that supposed to be about at the core?
So at the core, it's about finding students at North who have like interesting talents or interesting interests or great stories that need to be told, and then we go out and the video team goes and finds them and then tells that story, and then it goes on the site. And they always are like very well received by the students at North, and they really like to see them. And I think it's mainly just about getting more students covered on our website.
Got you. I think they're very well done.
Yes.
The episode that I got a chance to look at. Actually, we can go ahead now and take a look at it.
Coming up on this special edition of FHN Today TV, we'll be featuring the best videos from our series, Humans of FHN.
We'll take a look at how an FHN student found her passion for aerial gymnastics.
We'll see how a family legacy has helped shape this senior's softball career and more.
I'm Audrey Decker.
And I'm Kelsey Decker.
Stick around because this is all coming up now.
Junior Sam Carey has dedicated her life to soccer and recently committed to the University of Iowa to play at the college level. Carey began playing the sport when she was 6 years old and plans to graduate one semester early in order to begin her college career. Reed Pearson has more on the work that Carey has done to be able to play at the highest level.
So my practice on Monday is 2 hours. Tuesday I have off, but I have 6 a.m. weight training, so I'm going to count that. So that's an hour there, and I'll probably do about an hour at home, so that's 4. Wednesday is another 2 hours, and same with Thursday's 2.5. So that's 8.5. Fridays are normally my light or travel days, so I do a half an hour normally on Fridays. So that's now up to 9, and then I have games on weekends. So that's probably, I'd say, at a low week, 13 hours of soccer. You probably would have saw me when I was like a 6-year-old playing soccer. You would think I'd be quitting by age 8. I was pretty awful, but I'm a really competitive person if you ask anyone. So I just started working, and then in 7th grade I switched to the club team that I'm on now. I definitely owe a lot to my parents. They're more than willing to come up here and work with me and practice with me, and so they kind of help push me to make me get to the high level that I can play at.
So I thought, like I said, that was pretty interesting. Do you at all get a chance to get involved with that, or do you just is the video team completely separate? You just see it once it's the finished product?
This year I see it when it's the finished project, and it's really fun to see that. But I started off in the program in video, so I know a lot about what they're doing, and I make videos like myself. But the Humans of FHN and that stuff, it's just the video team, and they're doing an amazing job with what they're doing.
What are some of the other video elements that you like to incorporate into the website?
We do a lot of DIYs or things about holidays that students go and look at, and we take videos of pep assemblies. Those always get a lot of play, and then we cover students and stories and events and that kind of thing.
Got you. All right, so I only got a couple more questions for you. First of all, how did you get your start at FHN Today? I know you didn't just walk in the door and become editor-in-chief. There had to be a building process there.
So my freshman year, I had a semester class that I could take anything. So I just did intro to journalism, just hey, I thought it'd be fun. And then right around signing up for classes for the next semester, I found myself in our old room on a dirty couch with Mr. Manfull. And it was a lot of me just sitting there and a lot of him being you should join, you should do it. And so eventually, after sitting there for probably 20 minutes, I was okay. And so then the next semester, I was part of the video team. And then I worked my way up from staffer, and then I did some podcast stuff as an editor. And then this year, I moved to FHN Today EIC.
Got you. So one last quick question. Hopefully you know the answer. As a senior, what are your plans moving forward?
My plans moving forward, I'm going to go to Ball State in Indiana, and I'm going to major in photojournalism with a major or minor in fashion merchandising to hopefully work in fashion media and fashion journalism.
Got you. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate your time. And after one more short break, we will be back with Emily Hood, who has her own series of videos going called The Hood Report. That's coming up next.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you eat stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
Hello and welcome back to Millennial Media. I'm Romero Starks, and joining me right now is Emily Hood, who is the anchor of her YouTube series, The Hood Report. Emily, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. So tell me about The Hood Report. How did this start?
Well, back in middle school and actually around 8th grade when I was 13 or so, I used to watch these YouTube personalities online, and they would talk about random stuff. It would sometimes be news, but also sometimes be like little makeup videos, or, you know, things that I was into when I was 13. And I loved their personality, so when I was in 8th grade, my parents bought me my first camera, and I started making YouTube videos online and just uploading them to a personal channel. But when I got to high school, that kind of died off. I got really busy, but I also joined our journalism program and joined our intro broadcast class. So kind of thinking about that more, and once I joined on staff, I really wanted to be able to get some practice anchoring and also kind of bring the unique perspective that I think a lot of high school students have on current world events. So through some research of some other TV shows that I came up with, I kind of came up with the quick style Hood Report.
Got you. So how do you format the Hood Report? Do you kind of just impromptu talk about what the topics you picked are, or do you kind of write it out, okay, these are the topics I want and these are the points I want to highlight about those topics? How does it work?
Right. Well, typically I plan all my stories in advance. So for each episode, I try to do 3 segments. I usually have like a world news segment, and then a sports segment, and then something in like pop culture entertainment. So usually at the beginning of the week or over the weekend, I'll go sometimes on Facebook, sometimes on the Washington Post and various news websites, and just kind of pick out stories that I either think are really, really relevant or just stories that kind of pique my interest. And then I usually write the script totally all by myself beforehand, and then I'll sit my laptop in my lap and get in front of my camera and then shoot each episode.
So you kind of just have those notes sitting there and you're like, all right, let's just...
Right,
okay.
Right.
It looks very well done. I was surprised that it's just you, because it almost feels like with as much as you have going on with over-the-shoulder production elements and then the lighting and everything, you would think that would need an extra hand. Do your parents ever kind of help in?
Well, my parents have actually been hugely supportive, not necessarily in camera work, but just in other ways with helping me build my set and helping me bounce ideas off of them. So they've definitely been a huge part of the show overall. But typically for each episode in terms of like production, it's usually just me and my laptop. And it's definitely not the easiest thing to do, but I love doing it, and I love putting in the work and setting up my equipment each day to film.
So with getting this on the website, was that something that you brought up, like, well, hey, I do YouTube and I enjoy it, could I maybe do this on the website? Or was that something that somebody knew you did and said, hey, Emily, would you be willing to do this for the website?
Well, a lot of it was actually just kind of, I used to call them like crazy ideas that I had myself. So after watching those YouTube videos and kind of wanting to get more on-camera presence and on-camera practice, I just came up to Manfull and I said, hey, you know, I have this idea. I think doing this news show could be something really cool and really different for the site. And Manfull and the entire program is always super supportive about anyone wanting to try anything new. So he was like, yeah, go for it. Like, write a script to do your thing. So it was a lot of my own ideas, but I had a lot of help from my editors and Manfull to actually get the show going on the site.
Got you. Well, before the show, I got a chance to look at one of your episodes, and I want to take just a couple of minutes to let the audience look at it and enjoy it as well. Let's pull it up here.
My name is Emily Hood, and thank you for joining me for this week's episode of the Hood Report. On this week's episode, we will be discussing why you couldn't go visit the Arch this weekend, the Friends movie trailer that had me screaming out of excitement, and how this year's troops overseas are going to be watching the Super Bowl. Over the weekend, I was really bored and mindlessly scrolling through Facebook when I came across something in my newsfeed and I nearly passed out because of it. I was so excited. I saw what looked like a teaser trailer for a Friends movie, and everything was so different. Like Chandler and Monica were divorced and Phoebe was a doctor, and it was just weird, and I didn't understand like why this reunion wasn't, being more talked about, because it was such an exciting trailer. Unfortunately, after digging into the trailer a bit more, I found out that it was totally fake, and the trailer was just made up of cleverly edited clips from the shows Cougar Town and Joey. I mean, as someone who edits videos themselves, I am thoroughly impressed. Usually those don't get me, but you got me that time. Most of the Friends cast have said that they are not interested in revisiting the characters for some kind of reunion special, but I'm still gonna keep my hopes up. I'll leave a link to the video down below in the description if any of you want to watch it. Over the weekend, a failure between congressional Republicans and Democrats led to a government shutdown, leaving thousands of people stranded with no jobs and no pay until Congress could decide on a funding plan that addressed immigration and spending. Programs like air traffic control, military posts overseas, Medicare, and other necessary government programs remained open throughout the shutdown. However, many non-essential government workers were told to stay home unpaid until the government could find the money to fund their departments, such as many areas of U.S. intelligence agencies. National parks also remained closed, affecting visitors who tried to visit the Arch or the old courthouse downtown in just St. Louis alone. On the bright side, the government is now back open, with Congress agreeing on a new short-term spending plan and Democrats backing down on their requirements.
Wow, so that was really good. I want to know from you, how much satisfaction do you get from being able to do these videos on your own, but then also getting the recognition of being able to put them on the school's website and have other students get to see them?
Yeah, it's definitely awesome. It's really cool that the show has had such a good reaction over the past year and a half when I've been making it, because definitely I started making these videos when I was 14, and a 14-year-old putting themselves out there every week was definitely a bit of a daunting task when I was younger. So to have such a positive reaction from the school community has been huge and definitely keeps my motivation up to keep making the videos. And it was actually really cool because a few weeks ago, I was walking out of one of my classes, and I had a kid come up to me, and he was like, "Hey, you're Emily from the Hood Report, right?" And it was such a mind-blowing, you don't think that kind of thing would ever happen to you. I just feel like a normal 16-year-old student, but it was really awesome, and the reaction to the show has just been amazing.
Wow. All right, so with that in mind, and you are still pretty young, as you mentioned, only 16, what is next for Emily and the Hood Report? Where do we grow and go from here?
Well, I definitely want to continue fine-tuning the show and fine-tuning some of the elements, trying to improve my anchoring skills. I don't think I'll ever get the show to a point where I'll be happy with it. I'm constantly looking for ways to improve. And I'm also, sort of looking into colleges right now. I'm a sophomore, so I still kind of have a few years to look into that, but trying to decide. I'm sort of looking into a career in broadcast news, so kind of working with that and trying to incorporate Hood Report to be able to be something that could help me in broadcast news in the future.
Got you. Well, Emily, I appreciate you stopping by today and look forward to seeing what else you continue to do with the Hood Report.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Anytime. Well, that is all for today's episode of Millennial Media. Be sure to check out more episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks. Thanks for joining us.